I want to quote Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance.
They're saying there's a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance. Small market teams, the Orioles do fall into that category, the small to mid-market teams, Rip. Is there a chance that the Orioles could somehow, some way, bring Roki Sasaki over and get him to play here in Baltimore?
Well, I think here's the reality. You never know until it happens, but I think we're going to get more context that it would be the more of the, not saying it's 1 in 50, but 1 in 100. Maybe it's closer to the 1 in a million. Never going to say no, but more context here is that Jon Morosi spoke on this earlier on MLB Network, and he talked about, Rock, we're going to play this clip, 6 teams that we know are in, but there is one mystery team. So let's play that clip real quick, Zach.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about it more on the other side.
Make his decision about 1 week from right now. It is January the 15th when he's able to begin that signing period as part of the new international signing bonus class. And what I was told yesterday is that at least one additional team beyond the previously reported group of Dodgers, Padres, Giants, Yankees, Mets, Cubs, Rangers, at least one team in addition to that group has spoken with Roki Sasaki. Now, do we want to call this the mystery team?
Yes, we do.
I'll leave that to the viewer
we like the drama, JP.
I will say this, Lauren. One team that I've been keeping an eye on that has not been ruled out is Seattle. Now, the Mariners have not confirmed nor denied that they've had a meeting with Sasaki, but what we know is this. According to the reporting of Adam Jude of the Seattle Times earlier on this offseason, the Mariners were planning to have Ichiro Suzuki be part of their pitch to Roki Sasaki. Now, if you're a student of Japanese baseball history, of course, knowing that Ichiro was on the ballot, do we think there's any chance that if Ichiro said to Roki, hey, I'd like to have a conversation with you, and if any free agent, any prominent Japanese baseball player would say, you know what? No thanks. I just don't think that would happen.
So we're hearing, we don't know who that final team could be. Seattle does make a whole lot of sense even from the beginning, right? Staying out west. Yep. Obviously, if there's some sort of connection there, I mean, Ichiro is a human bigger than the world that we live in over there in Japan. He is larger than life's the phrase. Yes, thanks, Rock. That's a great guy to pitch. But then also you're looking at the Mariners as far as development. Let's look at development. They've done a great job developing their pitchers over there in Seattle. So that could be a sleeper team. Look, I would love to believe and think that the Orioles could have a chance to try to land the guy. But when you're looking at the other teams, what they could offer, the presence around them, I feel like it's an uphill battle. I still think it's an uphill battle for Seattle, and I'm not fully buying the small market thing. I really don't. I think the biggest thing for Roki is going to be, do you go to a place that has a good culture? Do you go to a place where you think you can develop? And I don't care what they say. You go to a place where you think you can win, because that's where you're going to get the most out of a pitcher. Development and then being in a winning environment is, to me, ultimately going to help with his success when he does become a free agent in, I guess it's in 4 or 5 years down the line. So That's my take on that.
Yeah, I don't think he's coming to the Orioles. I don't think he's coming to the East Coast. I think it's going to be – I've said all along, I think the mystery team, like you said, Rip, is going to be the Mariners. And I think they have a shot. I genuinely do. I think especially because they've proven that they are in the upper, I would say, 2 to 3 in just developing pitchers as of recent. So there is that small market kind of thing, feeling around Seattle. It's on the West Coast. You see that's usually where these guys who are coming over from Japan, they're staying West Coast just to be somewhat closer to home. I think he stays out that way. You have the developmental upside of Seattle. I think they are a good team. I do. They have to get bats. But, if you're Seattle, you go all out for Sasaki. You're able to then trade Castillo and you get more bats. I think that is a good, solid option for him. And selfishly, I would want him going there so that they're more willing to trade a pitcher. But that's just as a selfish Oriole aside. But I think the Mariners have a shot. As you said, Rip, I think it's an uphill shot because it's hard if the Dodgers say, hey, come play. You can pitch right behind Ohtani and Yamamoto. It's hard to decline that from the World Series champions, but I think Seattle's got a shot.
Especially if you have the opportunity to play with your guys. Yeah. And I love what John said with Ichiro. He's like, you're not going to pass up an opportunity to talk with Ichiro. If you're a Japanese player, not if you're a Japanese player, if you're any player that's in free agency, if Ichiro wants to talk with you, you're damn right I'm going to sit in a room with Ichiro and say, hey, man, like, what do you got to tell me about Seattle? What do you got to tell me about the game in general? Pick his brain, figure out what I want to do, and then go from there. And I think that is a great business decision for Seattle to say, hey, we got the guy, we got the golden child, the player that so many young kids in Japan want to grow up and be as a baseball player. Like, they look at Ichiro and they idolize this guy because of what he did over here and because of what he continues to do over there, giving back to the community. And you talk about Zach wanting to stay on the West Coast, like closer to Japan time-wise. Yes, that's something that I'm sure it's not going to factor in for every player, but a lot of these guys, it's going to be the case when you're looking at it.
To wrap up this conversation, Rock, when you're talking about with foreign players, specifically from Japan, and their free agents. Now, Roki, to clarify for everyone just to know, Roki isn't going to be breaking the bank because there's a certain amount of limit that he can get to. But with all Japanese pitchers, that's why, honestly, Sagano coming to the Orioles is more of the shocker because of the fact of he is going to a completely different time zone. It's going to be behind, but hey, the Orioles probably gave him the best deal that he could have. If you're going to be at a level that people suspect Sasaki to be at, and just like Ohtani and Yamamoto, you can dictate what market you want to be. So when you have the chance to make more money, it seems like those guys, if they are elite players, a lot of them have chosen that they really enjoy being out on the West Coast. So we'll see on that.